Good evening, everybody. And Rory is joining us as well. I will open the meeting. Ba-bing. Welcome to our second meeting in January, I think it is. Can you imagine? We have still 22. It's convention time. I was looking for the hotel we want to stay this week. Yesterday, I was going with my Rotary assistants. I was going to the convention center. I find a good bar. Maybe we will make an evening together with Larry over there. Larry, did you like the pictures what I sent you over?
Yeah, the pictures look nice.
Right. So I think it's perfect because it's right around the corner from the convention center. And so we spoke with the guy from the hotel. You know, the numbers are still low. We're all waiting that they're meeting in Chicago and tell us the convention has happened or not, because it's going crazy right now with COVID. But we all hope, that we can meet in Houston all together, right? So I see Ron had booked a room, Larry booked a room. So yeah, we will do it. So do we have any happy news this week?
Well, I'm leaving for Florida on Friday.
That sounds awesome. Okay.
Take the cold weather with you.
Where are you going? Where are you going, Rob?
Anna Marie Island.
Oh, I love that place.
I should be close to Keith. Keith, why don't you send me your address? If I feel like I need to roam, I'll come see you.
I want to see a picture. When you guys meet each other, I want to see a picture, please. Take a selfie.
And we're already, Jim Dodmead and I are already planning on getting together on the 23rd as he heads to Naples.
Okay.
So,
Do you go to Naples, Jim?
Well, I'll send you my address and phone number, Rob, and maybe you can come down and join us.
I'll try.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take the bike down.
You take your bike down?
Yeah.
I definitely need pictures from you guys when you meet each other. I would like to go to Florida right away, but maybe you send me your address, Keith. Your phone number, your Florida address, not the home address. I know your home address, but not the Florida address. Maybe I have to. Hey, David, nice that you join us. Good evening. So I want to give it over to our speaker tonight again, Kathleen. She will join us this time with, I think, her passion, right? Not motorcycle, the other passion, I mean.
Yes.
Oh, cats.
So
And
I give it over to you now.
And both passions are quite similar
Mhm.
in many regards. And I'm trying to share. I think this is the one.
Here we go. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
And so quite coincidentally, a number of years ago, the Rotarian had a cover page that showed a powered paraglider. And I took that to my local club meeting and I said, we're everywhere. We're everywhere. You can't get away from us. So I started lessons in Atlanta 10 years ago, 11 years ago, when I turned 50. Same time I started my motorcycle lessons, my motorcycle life. Paragliding, like any sport, you've heard of hitting a baseball on the sweet spot of the bat or the golf ball on the sweet spot of the club, where it's effortless. So technique is the key. It's horrible work until you get the right technique to get the sweet spot. So really, most people of any age and any ability to fly can fly. I started at 50, old fat lady. I did fine. And in fact, there are programs, and I've witnessed a flight of wheelchair-bound disabled pilots flying. So any skill set can do this with accommodation. So this is my first solo. I'm not sure if the sound's going to come through. So I learned in Atlanta in a big cow field with a tow. So a mile away is the tow, and he's pulling me up. So over there in the woods is the tow. So he pulls me up to height, and I have a cotter pin. I can release the tow rope, and then I'm free flying.
And who is pulling you up? I'm sorry.
The instructor was running the tow rope.
Okay.
Now, is he on the ground in a vehicle?
Yes, yes. It was actually, he had it set up on a, well, actually no, it was a technician who was running the tow rope. Cause I see my instructor there in the field. So I made this circle and I'm coming back. And the tow rope is, the tow machine is a giant machine. It had 3 spools on it. So here I am. I'm coming in for landing.
It's like a giant winch.
Giant winch, yes.
Hey, Tom.
And getting ready. And you see my little legs running because you got to run, run, land, and gift wraps. So that was my coworker, my co-student. He made that for me. So yes, it's a giant winch, and he had a clutch that it was a direct drive, and we only operated one spool at a time, but we had a clutch. We could change the spools, and the operator has to watch very carefully the person going up to maintain a consistent pressure on the tow line. So that's my first flight. That's, it made me feel good, but here is what a real paraglider does. And let's see, let me move this. Let's see if I can move this over to here. Did that bring over? No, it did not. So let me change my sharing. Where do I change my share? No. Can you stop my sharing for me? Because I can't seem to find how to stop it. Because I want to transfer to another. There it is. Okay. Let's see. This is what I want to share here. Share. And move this over to full size. And this is what a real paraglider does. And I'm going to skip the ad. So this is a pilot in the Alps right now, and he's world famous. But you can see he's running. You don't jump off a mountain, you run. Obviously, I don't do that.
They are really crazy because there is a special wind in the winter sometimes that you feel it's very warm. And this is the best weather for them to go out and do that. In this particular area, I mean.
There
That
we go.
looks very familiar to me.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
And actually, these acrobatic pilots take their wing to the point of near disaster.
Mhm.
And then, but that makes it look so interesting. And so he's flying backwards and he should be coming in for a landing pretty soon. No. Okay, so now stop share and come back to my presentation. Okay. And let me get out of this and come back to my presentation. So what is a paraglider? The Federal Aviation Administration classifies this as light, ultralight aircraft. In the United States, they have allowed us to be self-regulated because we have a fairly strong pilots association that regulates ourselves. At any point, though, the FAA can come in and take those rights away from us, but we have to follow all FAA rules. We have specific airspace to fly in. We don't generally fly with the transponders or lights, because quite frankly, when a plane flies by us, they're so fast, they won't see us. So unless we invade their space, which unfortunately some bad apples have done and will do, they let us maintain ourselves. But we're not like squirrel suits. We don't jump off. We run off because we have to have that forward momentum to maintain airspeed across the wing. We're not parasailing. That's similar because you see we've got that tow rope. But as you can see, the shape of the wing is different. This is a round parachute with openings. It's not directionally controllable, which we can do. And we are in free flight. We're not skydiving. Similar parachutes. In fact, they're getting to look more and more alike. But the objectives of the two flights are different. A parachutist, he gets in a plane, he goes up to height, she goes up to height, and they jump out, and they want to spend as much time in free fall doing their maneuvers, their formations, and then they deploy their parachutes and they want to land as quickly as they can so they can get in a plane and go back up and do it all over again. A paraglider wants to take off and stay in the air. And a good paraglider will stay in the air for hours. My longest flight was 2 hours. And so that's not a 2-minute parachute jump. That's trying to find the nuances of air currents to stay up. So functionally, we're like hang gliders and sailplanes. The only difference is we don't have the metal supports, the rigid framing. I personally like this because a paraglider packs up in a knapsack, and all told, it's 60 pounds for me to carry. There are lighter versions for the hike and fly crowd that, you know, they go climb a mountain and then fly off. I personally like having a road up to the top of a mountain. Like I said, fat old lady. Our basic equipment is consists of three things: the wing, the lines between the wing, and then the harness. The wing is made up of 2 sheets of fabric, and if you can see, one side here is open between the 2 sheets of fabric, and it's closed at the back end. So the air coming in fills the wing, and if you keep enough pressure on it, it's a stable, firm wing. The lines between are called risers. And these risers are connected to the pilot through the harness. And we control the wing ideally by weight shift, by leaning, just like in doing the twisties, you know, on a motorcycle. We're leaning, changing our center of balance, center of gravity. We also have brakes that curl. If you pull on a line, it forces this tip to fall down or to curl, or some other shape we want to get it into. So the secret of flight is lift, and that's generated by air flowing over a teardrop shape of a wing. So as you've got this teardrop shape, the wind flows over, and the shape causes the air underneath to slow down and compress, and it also causes the air on the top to speed up and spread out. So you've got a different pressure from high pressure below, light pressure above. And so the lower pressure pushes the whole fabric up. So let's see, I'm missing a, oh, it's right up here. So on an airplane, this teardrop is really very rigid. You only have the ailerons that drop down, the flaps that come up. And so most of that wing is rigid. And on a bird, it's like their hand. You know, it's analog. They can move almost finger by finger, feather by feather. And so the paraglider, because we're able to pull our lines in sequence and change our center of gravity, it's the hybrid between the airplane and the bird. And so here you can see, this is where we're pulling on the back on the brakes, and that causes a different airflow over, and it changes our flight configuration. So if I want to make a turn, I want to lean right, put my big old bulbous head over my shoulder, pull on my right riser, and it's going to curl the edge on just that right side. And so basically what is happening is the airflow is stalling on that side. And the other side is still flying at full speed. And so it flies around and you make a pivot and you make a turn. In order to land, a pilot pulls both brakes to slow down, to lose height. And then as we approach the ground, we will release the brakes a little bit to level out. And then at the correct time, we'll pull all the brakes down and flare. And that's where you saw the billowing. And it kind of pulls you up a little bit and you land softly, ideally. Okay, gravity, it trumps everything. In no wind conditions, if you just at the top of a cliff, run off and you're flying in no wind, stable flight, the way you're moving forward 10 meters and you're falling 1 meter. And so after, if you're 10 meters up off the ground, in 100 meters, you got to be looking for your landing spot. Actually, you're looking for your landing spot the moment you take off. But so we have an 8 to 10 glide ratio. This is a much shorter glide ratio compared to hang gliders and sailplanes. So they can go further, but the advantage is we can land in much smaller fields, so we don't have to have such a long runway. And another problem that we're only going 10 meters forward is we have to work harder. We have to find those air currents to keep us up. So the air currents that we're doing. So we always start at height. We're either towed up, we climb a mountain, we start at height, and then we either land at the end of our glide ratio, or we find a source of lift. So a source of lift can be the air coming against a mountain is going to be pushed up. And so that's ridge soaring. You'll fly back and forth over the tip of the mountain ridge, or thermals, where the sun heats up a patch of ground and a bubble of hot air will rise up. And so we're always looking for hawks, eagles, and vultures to show us where these invisible air currents are. And so we take off, we fall, we find a place of lift, we climb up like a hawk, we move a little further down the road, we're falling all the while, we find another source of lift, climb up, and we just keep that process. And a good pilot, the X-Alps competition starts in Germany and ends at the Mediterranean at Monaco. So the good pilots are up for hours and hours and hours. So this is me again flying. This is in Hiawassee, Georgia, Bell Mountain. And you can see I'm performing a turn. I'm cringing at this now that I've got some experience behind me. My right hand is pulled down. My right hand is pulled down. My left hand is up. And you can see that the right side of the wing is curled. And I'm looking to the right. So just like motorcycling, you look where you want to go. And so what I'm not doing here is I'm not weight shifting. And so if I was weight shifting, this curl would be more flat and it would even extend over into the side of the wing. So it's a much more stable. Right now, there's a possibility I could lose airflow here and this then just becomes dead floppy fabric. So you want to make sure you keep the whole wing pressurized to make the turn. And did I just do the whole show? I think I did.
Very good.
I did. So let me stop sharing. And oh, it looked like it stopped sharing altogether.
Yep, you've stopped sharing. So
Okay.
I have a brief story. I have no idea whether they were paragliding or hang gliding or which kind of wing it was, but we were in Yosemite National Park at the top of Glacier Point. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, they had the wings that have a frame on them. So is that
Those hang gliders.
hang gliding? So yeah, they lift these things up and get them off the ground. They take 2 or 3 steps towards the cliff over the valley, Yosemite Valley, which is 2,000 feet below, and they just went off Glacier Point and had Half Dome in the background. It was pretty spectacular to watch them just step off this cliff and just sail across the valley.
It is a beautiful feeling. I was flying in Boone, North Carolina. I had to leave early, so I'm coming down on purpose. I'm circling around to lose altitude, and as I'm circling down, a hawk stupid me because I was a novice. I'm circling down in a thermal, and a hawk is circling up in a thermal, and we circled each other, and we were eyeball to eyeball. It was just, so views of Half Dome, views of hawks right there flying with us, views of, just the scenery is just spectacular. And like Uta was saying, out there in the Alps, it's quite the regular sport there.
This is Tom. I have an unusual little story and a be cautious when you go with a hang glider. My younger brother brought a bunch of his friends out to a ranch that had a large number of fairly high, steep hills. And not a one of the 5 of them had ever operated a hang glider before, but they knew that if you ran down a hill and then pushed forward on the bar, you would get some lift and you could probably fly. Well, my younger brother decided he was going to be the lead hang glider, and he runs down this hill, pushes forward. He gets up about 3 feet in the air and loses momentum. He pushes forward on the bar, and the hang glider drops straight down, and he lands on his rump in a big patch of cactus. He got hauled off to the emergency room in the bed of a truck, laying face down, and had to have some surgery to remove the probably 150 cactus spines that were in his bottom. Anyway, don't do that one. Check your landing area, even if it's only 30 feet in front of you.
Absolutely. And so he stalled. He lost his, so once and again, we're moving forward. It's momentum to keep that airflow over the wing. And he lost his airflow, so he stalled. And he stalled, and with the fabrics of the hang gliders and the paragliders are so small, they cannot sustain you in a direct down. They do not offer enough resistance on a direct downward fall. The parasailers, even the new parachute pilots, their wings are getting smaller and smaller, that they have to work for forward momentum also. The days of a big round, actually the reserve, our emergency parachute, is a big round circle, save your butt type equipment. Any other questions? I mean, there's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, but it's balance, head and eye, keeping focused.
Where all have you done your gliding?
I learned in Atlanta, like I said, a giant cow field, and I could identify my harness because I landed in a cow patty. So my butt was big brown. Bell Mountain is in Hiawassee, Georgia, between Atlanta and Charlotte. I've been in Chattanooga, Boone, North Carolina. I made a trip to Iquique, Peru, which is, if you've seen the Gulf at Torrey Pines, it's the West Coast. You have the coast air off the ocean coming in nice, hitting cliffs. So it's a perfect steady stream of air hitting a cliff for ridge lift. That was where I did my longest and furthest flights. Now I do my flying out in Boise, Idaho. The problem with the East is it's too green. That the airflow, the weather is just not. My husband says it's a logistically undesirable sport because I'll be traveling.
Talking about paragliding.
Paragliding, yeah, because I'll be traveling 6 hours from the coast over to
60 years old.
Chattanooga.
Motorcycles and paragliding are their hobbies.
And the wind, I'm driving, I'm expecting northeast winds, and the winds will shift 15 degrees and it's north winds. I can't fly because it's not going into the direction. So I have to drive back. Out in Boise, Idaho, Utah, Salt Lake City is a big place where they fly a lot. It's brown. And so they have a lot more thermals, and it's just more steady flying conditions. So those are the places that I've flown.
Yeah, have you ever come down and had to walk back a long way?
I was lucky that I landed where my group, we had carpools set up. Generally, there's always a runner who has the car. They'll take you to the top, and then you call them and say, I'm over here at the intersection of Highway 179 and 904, come pick me up. I have the son of my instructor. He is 21. So he started, 10 years ago. He was in his teens, and he was already an excellent flyer when he was in his teens. He had a sign that he made up, and we pack it all up in a backpack. So we can keep walking, and we'll walk Highway 904 until we come across somebody, and we're doing the good old thumb request. And he had a sign that said, paragliding pilot, need a ride. And coincidentally, state troopers came by, and they thought he was a runaway because he was a young kid with a backpack hitchhiking. So he had to show his equipment and say, no, I'm trying to get back home. So I was lucky, but yes, and if you, if I land out in the middle of Boise, Idaho, there's no Highway 904. So I got to hoof it right on back.
What's the approximate cost of getting started?
It is an expensive sport. Cost of lessons is $2,000. I was the nail in the coffin for my instructor. He retired after me because I was just so slow in learning. If you can learn quickly, the cost of the lessons is less, but basic lessons is about $2,000, and then another 7 to 10 for the equipment. So it all in, 15 to 20 to get started. But once you've got your equipment, the wing has a life of, depending on how much you use it, 5-10 years. So that's replaced every time. That's $2,000. But the harnesses, all the other equipment, you should be okay. So it's expensive, but it's fun.
Thank you.
Did you ever had the feeling, at the first flight, when you had the first flight? I remember when I had my first, normal flight with an airplane, I was so sick, I was so sick because I had my balance feeling in the head now. Did you ever had something when you took your first flight?
Well, fortunately, we don't go as high as a real plane. Usually we keep it at around, 2,000 to 5,000. Actually 5,000 is pushing it. 2,000, 3,000 feet above ground. So the air pressure balance isn't messing with the eardrum quite as much. But I've seen pictures where people have gotten sick. I haven't, but some people have.
I think especially the guys, they're making like this, right? I would getting crazy, so nothing for me.
Well, and those are excessive. Really, they can pull 2 Gs, and I'm saying 2 Gs. I don't know how many of it, but enough that quite literally you could go unconscious from the pressure, the centrifugal pressure of doing those spins. But I drive like I ride my motorcycle. I'm Granny in my Oldsmobile. I just putter along looking at the view.
So do we have any other questions? I think it's phenomenal, special, when you never did it, started 10 years ago, and then said, decided, that's now my passion, So I think the first flight is always important to make a decision if that is something for me or not, right?
Yes, and a lot of schools will, and we stress wholeheartedly, have to take lessons. We don't encourage anybody trying to buy equipment on eBay and do it themselves. I mean, there's lots of YouTube videos out there telling you how to launch, how to land and all that, but you really do need an instructor. So absolutely take an instruction and a lot of schools will offer a tandem flight so that you can decide for yourself
Mhm.
if it's right for you. Because a lot of people it isn't, but then again, we ride motorcycles and we're having fun too.
Yeah, that's true. So I will stay with my motorcycle, honestly. But I'm a little bit.
I
fearful with
like
that.
having my feet planted right straight on terra firma. Thank you.
Like me, I don't care how high I go, as long as I have 2 feet on the ground.
Yes, that's for sure. So is anybody in the group right now, like a pilot that's going with an own, or ever did it?
Cessnas, small pilots. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I got out of the service, I got my pilot's license and probably had a couple hundred hours of my GI Bill paid for my flying. But ended up with an ear problem and just didn't feel comfortable. So probably haven't flown in about 40 years.
Mhm.
There's I wish I had some formal fixed wing flying skills for more of the FAA compliance. Um, I just don't follow all the rules and regs as closely because I don't live and breathe them like a regular pilot does.
I'm not sure I could handle that. I think I would, thrown out as soon as I'm in the air with the airplane. So with the small ones, there was some people, they made some jokes because I'm so tall. They said, if the airplane is coming, you can see her feet out of the window because, she's so tall. So yeah, there was a flight from a really small plane, and I was feeling comfortable from Atlanta to West Virginia, actually, one time. So
I too have a pilot's license, and I can't imagine who would want to jump out of a perfectly good airplane. I've had people try to get me to parachute with them, and nope. I'm afraid of heights. As long as I got an airplane around me, I'm okay.
mhm.
I agree. I don't personally like heights, but once I have my harness on and I can feel my inflate my wing and feel it the pressure of it holding me up, it just gives me the different sense of confidence. But if I'm just walking along the edge of a mountain, no.
Only with the backpack and something in, right? If something's happened, you always have a security, thing.
Yep.
Mhm.
I was watching some YouTube videos of the powered parasails, and that seemed quite interesting, where you've got at least a motor and some means of forward movement. That looked very interesting.
That is. And that equipment, again, weighs about 45 pounds, depending on how much gasoline you have in it. And in talking with those pilots, they are definitely more cowboys than the free flight pilots. I haven't talked to many acrobats, so I'm sure those guys are definitely the cowboys, but the powered guys are definitely a little bit more adventuresome. and because they can go a little bit further, and they're not quite, they don't have a central organization governing them like we do. So they're fun to watch. Anything else, guys? Otherwise, I'll
That
turn
was
it back
great.
over.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Caitlin. So how it's depend on the good weather, right? So how you make the decision if it's nice weather and you want to go paragliding, or you have to make a choice between motorcycle and paragliding, right? Finally.
Yes, and quite honestly, that I look at the weather, and unless the wind is in that sweet spot, I'm hitting my motorcycle.
Okay, good. Maybe she need a paraglider for her motorcycle, that she can do it with the motorcycle, you know. I think when you have a motor with you, that then you are not quite depend on where the wind is, and you have more control over everything. And with the wind, you have no control really. You have to follow what the wind is telling you, you know.
Yep.
So
And look for them birds.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mhm. Interesting. Yeah, thank you for the nice presentation and to be our guest again. So, yeah, we
Thank you
will
for-
also like to have you in a normal meeting. So don't worry. You know, we're not biting you. That's a good thing with the Zoom meeting. You know, it's contactless. No contact at all.
It's good, and I'm looking forward to coming back and sitting in on your regular meetings. Yes.
Yes, I'm sure there is some. You missed the last meeting last week. It was very interesting. We had an astronaut from the Space Center as a speaker.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, but maybe you can see I recorded it, you know. Normally you get a link for the last meeting. Maybe you still have it and you can watch it. It was really interesting. And, he talked about, some trainings about isolation in Hawaii, for the Mars mission, and what isolation makes with the body and with the people, even, when they are on the international station in the, how you call it, in the air, very high up there. And, but he said, we have the same with COVID now. And by the way, is it horrible for you guys right now with this new coronavirus variation? So, David, you're good? Or is there a lot of
No,
numbers?
it's very bad in Indiana.
Okay,
Horrible.
Indiana, very bad. So Houston had yesterday, 42,000 new infections, so on one day. Can you imagine? And very fast. It's running over like a wave, unbelievable. And Rory, in your area, Michigan, how bad is it?
Not good. Not sure what the numbers are right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was just gonna look it up and see what it said.
Yeah, I think the good thing here is that the temperature, okay, it's a little bit cooler, but not cold like it is maybe in Michigan or where are you guys? So and Florida is nice as well. We lost Keith again. You see, this day he have trouble with his connection again in Florida. So be prepared, Rob, when you go to Florida. But you are not staying in a camper, right?
No, we rented a house for a week, so I'm only going for a week.
Mm-hmm.
But we're
Okay.
looking forward to it.
Okay. Yeah, that's nice. So nice when you catch up there, I think. So anybody else want to make a vacation? So we going to Port Aransas the other day. So we lost Deborah, I think, right? Wait a minute. Yeah, we lost Deborah. Yeah, we going to Port Aransas.
The last 2 days, we reported 2,800 or 28,458 new cases.
Wow. Yeah, it's ridiculous right now, and so we have to look what it's going, because in the hotel the number's not going up. I have the list, I had it over here. It's about, because nobody knows what's happened now in the summer, and that makes the people really waiting and waiting and waiting. I think we have for the whole convention 19,000 registrations right now, and only the half is paid, so the people are afraid that, so if something has happened like this with us, the hotel I found, we have a contract that they give you all the money back. So if the convention get canceled because of COVID, nobody, so they give you the money back when you made the reservation already. So like me, I did the reservation already for the hotel. So, but they give it back. So, and the other thing is, we have to look, but, everybody is waiting and nobody can really step forward. It's ridiculous.
Very, very difficult times.
Yeah. Yeah. Very difficult. And I hope this will, one time it will really over, but think about, we still make the ride to the hill country. It doesn't matter if the convention is happen or not, we will still make the ride to the hill country. Let not stop that COVID us, right? No, we don't want that.
So Ute, there's a chance that my son will ride from Southern California to Hill Country to be riding with us.
Yeah, that's fine. Totally. He's more than welcome. And I have no information from Germany at all, who's coming or not. We have only one German is on the hotel already, but I don't know it's from the IFMR or whatever. So even we have one club from this district over here. They have a friendship exchange with a German district. No information about that. Everybody is waiting. And right now they cannot fly over anyway, because it's Schengen is closed again.
Yeah.
Because it's pretty hot there as well. So I could go if I need to go, but I don't want right now because everything is closed again.
Well, we're on the cusp of making a decision to go on a motorcycle tour to Portugal in March.
Oh, Portugal is beautiful. I was on the Rotary convention. One time there was an international convention. I just came to the US at this time. That was my first trip. They let me out. I get a special stamp in my passport that I can come back because I was still in the green card process. And there was a convention in Portugal and in Lisbon. It was so awesome. You have to go there. It's really, it's really a nice place on earth, really.
Who did you find to organize the motorcycle trip?
Well, are you talking to me, Portugal? Yeah, there's a variety of companies that do motorcycle tours, and I'll try and keep this brief, but there's only one company that I was aware of that did a tour to the Isle of Man to see the TT race. And so we booked for May of 2020 with this company called MotoQuest. And of course, May of 2020, the tour didn't happen. And they have $10,000 of mine that they won't give me back, but they'll let me book another trip. So I attempted to book a trip to South America in February of 21. Yeah, that didn't happen either. So now we've booked this trip to Portugal. And I just talked to the owner of the tour company, And he says Portugal's open and everything's kind of normal and should not
Yeah.
be a problem. So I'm pretty optimistic that we're going to go, and it'll be March into April. And we'll probably tack on another week to go over to Spain and see, not on the motorcycle, but see some things in Spain. But if you're looking for motorcycle tours, there's a number of companies. This one is MotoQuest, and the other one that I have done two tours and one self-guided tour with is Ayres Adventures, AYRES Adventures, and they're phenomenal. Highly recommended. We did New Zealand and Norway with them.
Mhm. So there's also some companies you can see in the MOA newsletter, and they have a lot of companies too. They offer, trips like that. So if you give me your email, I can send you something when I find it, the next time, no problem. But they have most of the time BMWs, but I think it's pretty hard for you, right? Because you need a low one. But tell them they will handle that, or they tell you no, but then you know everything. If you're not asked, you cannot get an answer. That's what I believe. So anybody else have any trips they wanted to do this year?
Houston.
Yes, I know. Hopefully, really. I'm so looking forward, to see all you guys in person and, hang out with you. And Ron, your wife will going with you, I'm sure, right? She will ride for herself.
Oh yeah, she'll be ahead of me. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'll just be following her. Yeah.
Yeah, my husband liked to do that too.
No, Ron, we need to work on the route from the west to the Houston and put some stopping points and hotels. Do you want me to work on that a little bit for you, or do you want to keep working on it?
I'm happy to have you do it, or I can, whichever you prefer. I don't know how much you have going on, so.
Well, I got a lot going on. So
okay, well let me do it. I was actually just thinking about that the other day, and I'll get some ideas together, and then you can critique it and tell me what you think.
Okay.
How many miles you make daily? You want to make daily?
Well, what we have generally done is somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 or a little bit below. And what Larry and I talked about was going, trying to stay off the highways, the major highways.
Yeah.
So that'll decrease the mileage, I'm sure, per day. But like I say, I'll put something together that'll be about that. And that's probably going to be short distance for some people that are just trying to get there and get back. But that's pretty much what we're comfortable with.
Depend on how many people I think riding. If only Chris and I together, we make sometimes over 400. But some days you are tired. You don't want to do that, or it's too hot or whatever. And then you are happy. One time it was raining like hell, and then we stopped 100 miles earlier than this. So.
Well, it's kind of nice to be able to do a little sightseeing on the trip too. I mean, that's one of the things when we went back to Maggie Valley. I think even though we didn't go that far, we did a lot of freeway, and that got real old. And we rode a lot of distance and kind of felt like we missed some things that but we still. I mean, we took a month, and still it just seemed like we had a month on the freeway.
Oh, cool. And Larry, your wife is riding too, motorcycle or not?
No.
So,
Her plans are still to be determined. Not sure if she's going to come to the convention. Not sure if she's going to come to the Hill Country. After the Hill Country, I plan to go to Dallas to see a granddaughter and 3 great grandsons. And then after Dallas, I plan to go to Denver to see kids and grandkids. So she may fly to Hill Country. I don't know. She may fly to Dallas to be part of that and then fly to Denver. I don't know.
No,
But-
I only ask in general, you know, I know that Ron's wife she's riding for herself. I know that, I think Jerry's wife, she's not riding for herself, but she liked to ride with him, right? She liked to be in the back. And there's some people, you know, they going, I only, you know, I think it's very nice if you have the same passion. So my husband was not even riding when I came to the US, and he said, "Oh, I can go in your back." And I said, "No, you have to
Yeah,
make your own driver license." So I brought him finally to riding, you know, so, but he do a great job. He's riding now 8 years. Yeah.
Katie will ride passenger on the Portugal tour. The fun thing about this particular tour is we're staying in 2 of the towns for 3 nights, each of those 2 towns. And so she'll have an option to stay in town and not ride,
Mhm.
and I'll have an option to ride or not ride.
And it's safe. It's really safe, Portugal. It's really a nice, you know, they're very friendly, they're open. And by the way, when you go to Spain, look if you can go to the Pyrenees.
That's up north, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's close to France. You know, it's in the middle between France and Spain. This is such a great area you cannot imagine for the motorcycle. Yeah. So they.
well, we won't be on the motorcycle in Spain.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Katie will have had enough motorcycle after 10 days in Portugal.
Okay. That's a good thing if you join the same hobby. You know, you can make it together. So it's always.
Oh, I agree.
So, Caitlin, no, this time I make the 4-way test, you know, because everybody was leaving us because we are over the time, 2 minutes, you know, so. But thank you for joining us tonight, and the 4-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First, is it the truth?
Truth.
Is it
Second,
fair
is it fair to all
all
concerned?
concerned?
3, will it build goodwill and better friendships? 4th, will it be beneficial to all concerned? And 5th, have we
Is it
fun?
fun?
Of course we have fun, right? So have a good evening. See you next week. Bye, Tom. I don't see you, but I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Bye. Good night.
Take care. Bye.
Oh, wait a minute.